Hey guys, this is Josh Mitchum with Every Damn Friday. We're back with new episodes. Going to start a new season. Going to be releasing those here pretty soon. Excited to be back at it. We got some really cool guests, just people that are doing lots of cool stuff, doing great things, creating things, uh, musicians, artists, leaders, people that are getting stuff done. But today's guest is a singer from North Georgia. He's going to be participating at the Ramble at the Randall coming up here in a few weeks. His name is Jonathan Peyton. Him and his wife travel across the United States and around Georgia, play music. Got a very cool story. I can't wait for y'all to hear it. So thanks for listening to the newest episode of Every Damn Friday. All right, what do you say, buddy?
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Hey, we got Mr. Jonathan Payton here with us from Woodstock, Georgia.
Yeah, it's nice
What's
and hot here.
what's it like in Woodstock, Georgia?
Humid.
Well, it is here too. It's in the 90s today. I have a long sleeve T-shirt on, but just because I've got a mini split out here in the shop. So uh,
Yeah.
I'm a high tech redneck.
We're like we're just under where the Appalachian Mountain starts. So we're
So are you
um
northeast Georgia then?
like North Georgia and like less than an hour north of Atlanta.
Okay. That's not. You're only what is that? About 4 hours away from here, probably, and something around
Something
there.
like that. Yeah.
Well, man. Well, first of all, to all the people that are watching, Jonathan, first of all, his resume is fantastic. Um, but I just saw him on Instagram one time, and it's probably like the Wesley Godwin, Zach Bryan connection on the interwebs and my
Yeah.
algorithm, and I think it was you and Abigail singing "Denial" in the snow when the show got canceled at Red Rocks.
That that was man, so much came out of that. That was a wild day.
I mean, it being canceled was like kind of a blessing in a way because it brought a lot of publicity to the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean that song, that video, that song went around online. And I mean, as soon as we got back, I went to the studio. I was like, we have to record this.
Yeah, because it was
So
look,
we got,
you had nothing to put out.
yeah, yeah.
You
So
you couldn't uh you couldn't monetize it. We'll talk about music business in a minute, but um, well, just tell me about kind of your background. If you go online to the website and the bio says, kind of like a hard scrabbled, upbringing and all that kind of stuff, and obviously you're married and you you sing with your wife, which is awesome. And I saw a bunch of pictures of kiddos. So tell me a little bit about what's going on there in Woodstock.
so yeah, my wife and I, we live here in Woodstock. We have three kids. Um, very close and they're very close in age, 10 and younger. And I mean, I've pretty much have lived here my whole life. So I've
Okay.
lived here for, I think I've lived here for 31 years. I'm,
Okay. How
I'm,
old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay. You're still a pup.
Yeah, I moved here from Northern Ohio,
Okay. That was
and
probably a good move.
yeah, yep. When I was a little kid, and my wife was born and raised here, but yeah, I mean, we live here. I still, it's funny people, start asking me questions and realize that like I still have a full-time day job.
So what is the day job? I saw a post of you painting cars.
Yeah, I paint cars for car dealerships.
Okay. So
If
so like somebody has a little or they trade in something and you
Yeah, I work on like the used car inventory, so I'm a mobile vendor. I got into it like 12 years ago. Um, and I'm with a company now that, when I got a show out of town, I don't have to fight to get off. They're very
yeah.
supportive. And my boss actually, when we did the Red Rocks thing, he went with me as kind of a just support and help and kind of an
See that
extra or whatever we needed. So there, I have a lot of support there. So yeah, I mean, we live here in North Georgia. We tour here and there, and we're trying to figure out how to maintain a balance. I don't. I I don't want to miss out on my kids growing up.
Totally.
So
Well,
I
when
don't.
I was your age, I taught agriculture in high school, and when I was your age, I quit teaching, and we went and toured for like 4 or 5 years, and my kids were about your kids' age, and it was, I was home during the week a lot, but it was a whole lot of sorry, I'm not going to be at your softball game, or sorry, I'm not going to be at your basketball game, and it was tough. My situation now is great because I see a lot of them, probably more than I want. But now there's 17, 16. I have Irish twins, and then I've got a 12-year-old. So I'm going through the teenage years right now, but probably a good thing I'm here. But yeah, that's a big thing, man. Like I always told people I drove a lot faster coming home than I did leaving.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like I know a ton of touring artists that have kids, and you know, I wasn't out. I wasn't driving across to different states playing shows when they were born. They weren't born into that. I was just doing local shows here in Georgia, so it's such a big change for us. And
And you're probably
uh,
still not at a place where you can just load everybody up and take them with you and
oh, I'm not gonna make my kids rough it with me on the road.
the
It'd be
Super
just,
Eights.
maybe one day we'll be in a place where we could just afford to take them on the road with us. There's a couple shows that we got a show coming up in Florida and one in West Virginia. They're coming with us, but that's
Those are
uh
special cases.
a little different situation. But
Yeah. And yeah, it's not, it was not glamorous. It was very much uh, the hour and a half or 2 hours you were playing was like that. You did that for free. The rest of it is what they were paying you for. It was
yeah,
smelling. I was in a band with uh, uh, three other guys and one girl, and bless her heart, she had to deal with all that. She was tough, but um, you talk about your date. So September 7th, you're going to be in Jasper, Indiana.
yep.
So that's close enough to us to where if people that are watching this or locally want to try to get out and see you, they can check that out. Then you're going to be in Americana Fest in Nashville. Where are you playing at? Where's your showcase at?
I'm doing a thing with a company called Old West Americana and Keystone Artists Connect, and we're doing a showcase at D's Lounge or D's
Right.
Cocktail Lounge on Wednesday the 18th.
D's is an awesome hang.
Yeah, it'll be
Spent a lot of
fun.
time at D's in
I
my
had to
in
there
my
about
Nashville era.
yeah. It's a
The,
cool place. I like
it,
it.
it is kind of like the best vibe of, and you're in Madison, so you're not really like in
Yeah,
downtown. You don't have to
yeah.
deal with the bachelorette parties. Um, and then, of course, you're here October 19th. Going to be here with Nick. I think I saw a picture. Maybe he's in the studio with Muscadine Bloodline
Oh,
this week. Yeah, how cool is that? And that's the neat thing too. It's like there's the world is real small when it comes to musicians. It's like I'm not touring anymore, but start trying to book some of these acts, and it's like you try to get people before you can't get them anymore because I'm a little bitty 200-seat barn in the middle of nowhere. So it's like and I can only sell so many tickets, and I can't sell $100 tickets. I have to sell like $25 tickets. So it's like I have to get people in that little spot. Like we had Wilder Blue here for Derby last year, and now in all summer they've been opening up for Luke Combs. It's like craziness. I think they're out with Charles Wesley, maybe some here in the
yeah,
next week or so. So but like the Nick thing and um, you know, it. It's like you hooking up with Sadler. Like, how did that happen? Well, let me do your resume here real quick, just
no goodness.
for the people that don't know. So, first of all, he's played at Red Rocks, which is besides the Ryman, that's probably like, I mean, that's everybody's number one.
Yeah, I cried on that stage.
Oh
So
my God, yeah. So I've been there, and I haven't played there, but I've been there, and it's just the most majestic, wonderful, beautiful place. Matter of fact, we were touring, and our fiddle player, her name is Anna Blanton, and she'd toured with Coulter Wall for a couple years,
yeah,
and before she played with us, and he was playing Red Rocks, and she's like, I wish I could just go play with him for that show. I was like, just call him. Like the worst thing you do is say no. So she messaged him, and he was like, yeah, if you'll pay for your ticket, 100% you can come play. So she red-eyed out to Colorado, played the show, red-eyed back for our show like 2 days
So
later.
worth it.
Oh
So
my
worth
God.
it. We got to play 2 nights last year. That was,
How do you
yeah. I
how do you ever go back? Like to play in the shitty bar, you know?
The thing is, that wasn't my gig. I was the opener, so like that's
Oh,
uh, I don't know, man. If someone's listening, I'm happy.
yeah.
You know, I don't care how many people are there. If someone's listening, it's great.
Hopefully the Ramble will be that kind of show where they're sitting and listening and you can really connect. It's a really neat crowd. So yeah, Red Rocks with Zach Bryan, who arguably the biggest act in the world, at least in America. The Head and the Heart, Drew Holcomb, Wyatt Flores getting ready to drop a new record, which is going to be
Yeah,
awesome. And then Charles Wesley. And then you've recorded with Sadler Vaden. So for people at home that don't know who Sadler is, he's the guitar player for Jason Isbell. And of course, Jason Isbell is this, if you're a songwriter and, Southeastern was like, you were like, all right, this is what I got to do. I got to do this kind of stuff.
yeah.
So how did that hookup happen?
Man, they're one of my favorite bands,
Right.
and just to be honest, I just reached out to him for a long time, but like I was like, okay, I want to get a hold of him, but I don't want to be annoying. So I just reach out every once in a while, and he saw one of my messages and listened to what I sent him. And next thing you know, we're on the phone and I'm up in Nashville.
Yeah. And he's been
So
killing it as a producer too.
he's an amazing producer, but we did it all independent. It wasn't I'd have no backing. So it wasn't
Right.
like we had a label or a label servicing company reach out to him.
And I think at the end of the day, like people really like even big and I wouldn't say Sadler's a huge star, but he swings a real big stick, right? Because of his circle that he's in. But I think at the end of the day, I mean, they're just looking for authentic people who are doing good stuff, and I think it's endearing when somebody would reach out. And for kids listening to this, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? They don't respond, or they say no, or they say I don't have time. you
Yeah,
know
just don't be annoying. That's my thing. Just
right.
don't be afraid
And
to
I'm
ask for
sure you paid him. I'm sure you paid him, and
yeah.
he got paid for his time, and he obviously he liked it. So, um, but what that's the thing. Like that's what aside from getting to play at awesome places, to be able to go and record like do a pro thing, like that's like the best
And
feeling.
that was that whole experience because he makes, I walk in, go into Nashville, and I'm not a great musician.
Right.
I like to write songs, but as a musician, I'm not that great.
You're adequate. You know how to play your songs very
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So going into a studio with these guys, it's just like it's intimidating.
It's like Jimbo on bass and
We
like
didn't have Jimbo. We had Derry play keys on the first time. We recorded like 3 or 4 different times.
okay.
But we had we had Derry come play some keys, which was really cool. And then we had some other guys that around Nashville kind of stick with us through the sessions. They were just awesome.
Where'd you get to record at?
Do what?
Where'd you record at?
We recorded 2 places. We recorded at a place called Creative Workshop,
Okay.
and then we recorded at a place called Pentaveret.
Awesome. And I'm sure they're just like every recording studio in Nashville is awesome.
Yeah.
I go down the rabbit hole on I think it's like Andrew Masters like studio tours on YouTube.
It's fun. It's fun stuff, man. And like I said, going into those rooms, I'm like, I felt initially so out of place, and he was really good about squashing that really quick. And like any kind of pressure I was putting on myself, just kind of went away. And so I think that was kind of part of the magic of his producing is the way that he owned the place and ran it. It
He
made me
seems like
feel.
a real super
I
like
didn't feel.
quiet, like
I
laid
didn't
back
feel.
dude.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was just some outsider. Um, because I'm just not on their level. And it was cool. Like he helped put together the teams that made that record, and he picked amazing people. And
So
so
if
I just
you want to
happy with
listen,
the
if you want to listen to it, like it's all available on all the platforms, and they can order it from your website, all that. Correct.
yeah.
Now the stuff you've been releasing, you released a song here recently. is that going to be is that just standalone single, or is that going to be a full?
So I'm actually about to announce next week my next like studio single. That last song was just a home recording.
Okay.
Um, Man, I've been in the studio a lot here in Georgia.
Okay.
Uh, I'm actually gonna be back in the studio all day Thursday.
Awesome.
So I think we've tracked probably 11 or 12 more songs, and we're gonna release some singles for a while. There's another project. The word's not out yet that I'm a part of it, but we have this really cool. I'll say we're just teaming up with a legendary, at least in this area, legendary band that's doing some really cool things, like a collaborative album of artists covering their songs.
Okay.
And I'm excited to get the word out about that.
You're gonna have to tell me when we get off.
Yeah,
Get
I'll tell you, we just finished the song and submitted it, and it's for a great cause. All the proceeds, like it's I don't know, and like to see some of the artists, I'll tell you, some of the other artists that are gonna be on this that are already on it. It's just I can't believe that. Yeah,
all of my. It's hard to say who are your favorite people, but like Black Crows are one of my top five favorite bands. Obviously,
sure.
yeah, Atlanta band. Uh, I love Butch Walker. Yeah, he's one of my faves. I don't he's not Atlanta. He's from I'm trying to think close to Rome, I think. But Georgia is just like so many, of course, Macon, you know.
Yeah,
So it's good to be from Georgia. There's even some pretty good country singers. Like when I say country, I mean like on the radio country singers that come from Georgia too. So pretty fertile ground down there. Um, what? Did your wife? Is she on everything now?
yeah, pretty much.
How's working with your wife?
It's great. So we don't. It's weird. So I write all the music, not because of like, oh, I write the music. It's just how it's happened.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like, we're about to do that Jasper, Indiana show, and we're gonna be coming up to see you guys. Like, it's it's almost like a little bit of a break for us to be able to,
Well, I
we
would
get
say that they are
to,
very personal songs, and it's kind of like when you go and watch Chris Stapleton and Morgan. He's
yeah.
singing to her, and she's singing to him, and that's a neat thing.
Well, it's like it's funny because people are always like great harmonies. I'm like, that's all her. Like,
She has
yeah,
to, she's just making you sound good and look good.
yeah. Every once in a while, I do play without her, and it's just not the same. It's
But you
not.
did outkick your coverage there, bub.
Do what?
Said you outkicked your coverage there. She's a beautiful lady, so you must be a really nice guy.
Yeah, I guess.
Um, so you said you got something coming up you can't talk about, but what other stuff's on the radar? Like, I mean, are you signed to any kind of booking agency or any of that kind of stuff right now?
Man, to be completely honest, I just fired my booking agency earlier this year. We started working with one, I'll just say a big agency that I was like, oh, this is great. And yeah, it was just
Listen, I was with William Morris uh, for a while and had a guy. He's a super nice guy and he's great, but it's like I don't know. We couldn't get any shows, and it is what it is sometimes. And just sitting there on your hands waiting for them to do something. I learned that early on when I was young was probably my best opportunity to do music forever uh, as a living. And I sat around with my arms crossed waiting for my manager and everybody to get stuff done. Kind of the second time around, I was realizing, nobody's going to do this like I can do this.
well, and I'm with you on that. I was with UTA. I don't mind sharing. They just it just didn't work out. That's a yeah. I could take up the rest of the time talking about that one,
Well,
but it
I also
worked
think
out.
don't you agree that like a bigger artist has to champion you sometimes and say I want this guy to come with me, and it kind of gets the ball rolling.
Yeah, and it's funny. We had people knocking on our door after Red Rocks. Man, who are you? Who are you? Um, and I think when they realized that I wasn't maybe who they thought I was, they just kind of started trickling out, which is kind of funny. But I don't care, man. Like I don't know. Like I hope one day I can do this uh for a living. I love getting to make music. I love getting to do shows. I love getting in front
Then
of
you'll just
people.
buy 69 Camaros for yourself and paint them.
But you know, even with the booking agency, I just had to advocate for myself because it's like, hey, I know I'm a smaller artist, but when I get treated as a small guy, I just don't have time for that.
Right. Like, look, so it's like playing here. Like one of my goals for this, like, because I'm not touring anymore. So having the Ramble is kind of like my way of still like kind of feeling the feeling, right? And my goal is that an artist gets paid. Like, I ask people like, what do you need? Like, what do you got to have? Like, don't tell me like, what's the number, and I'll figure out how to set the
Yeah,
price or get a sponsor. And then like I want it to feel good. I want you to get the food and the drinks, and I want artists to feel like I wanted to feel whenever I was playing. And sometimes they would treat you like shit and make you wait outside, or you can't come in this area, or uh we're going to cut you short 30 minutes because we need to get this other thing, all the
yeah.
terrible things that they can do to you. And
Well, it's amazing because then you find those venues that treat you the way you want to be treated, and you always go back to them. Or even just in my case, like other artists, some of these people we've toured with, they've been so kind to me, like so kind.
and
We
that's
even
that's the best part,
yeah,
the
and we've
relationship.
we're excited to come up there and do this show with Nick. We played with Nick in Indiana a while back, and just man, what a great time.
Yeah, he is a true artist. He's one of Kentucky's fine. There to me, it's like Tyler obviously is the biggest thing going from Kentucky at the moment. Um, but like, there's probably no Tyler without Nick. He inspired that age group of kiddos in the Lexington area, which was close to where I'll never forget. Like I met Tyler and playing a show in Lexington, didn't know who he was. CJ, who plays acoustic guitar for him now, was in a band called the Wooks, and we knew CJ. He's like, "Hey, that's my friend Tyler. We write songs together." I'm like, "Nice to meet you."
Yeah,
And it was like 5 years later, he's Madison Square Garden. Pretty rad. But again, there's no Tyler without Nick. If
yeah.
if
I
if
love that Kentucky scene. That just
there's a lot of love, a lot of
we played Laurel Cove this year.
John Bell he is the dude.
That whole our whole time there was just it was amazing.
It's a
I never
magical place.
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about festivals, but that one is an exception. Like big time. And that was awesome.
He's
I love
done
getting
a
with
he again he curates the right kind of music. I know locally he's caught a lot of heat for the acts that he's bringing in because they're like, who are these people and what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing these people to Bell County? And but 2 or 3 years in now, people are trying to get tickets, 3 or 4 weeks before the show, and he's like, no, it's been sold out for
yeah.
months. Too bad, too sad.
We played at the Burl
Mm.
once. We opened for J.R. Carroll there, and that was like, man, that was cool.
The Borough is it that is like it's a super cool venue. Now they got
Yeah,
the arcade and they got the
yeah.
brewery. It just keeps getting better. But no, I playing in Kentucky was a wonderful experience. It was.
I want to do it more. I love it. I'll give them a plug just because we had such a great time with them. We played a show up there with the Jenkins twins.
Yeah.
Do you know them? They're
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, and another one of those bands that I'm like, why doesn't everybody know who these people are? But I think one of them, they're kind of playing as like a trio now with maybe one of their wives.
Oh, with oh my goodness. I'm blanking.
I gotta look it up, but I
That trio, yeah.
think
Uh they're those guys are
they're like the Everly Brothers.
watching them live. I'm like, man. I don't know. Every experience we've had in Kentucky's been great.
Well, hopefully we'll give you another good one.
Man,
Um, um, just kind of some quick hits. Like, so your favorite artist is who?
it's hard. I mean, I would say Isbell has been a huge influence, like in terms of writing. Love him. I I remember seeing the Avett Brothers live years ago, and they just had me hooked.
Yeah.
Well, I've always been a big Avett Brothers fan. Um, when I started writing music, like around 2000, probably like really writing, like 2008, 2010, I was like really got into it, and like the Lumineers and the Head and the Heart, like Mumford and Sons, that kind of phase where that all
And
started. Like, I mean, I was so into it, and I still love all that
I
stuff.
love Mumford. I used to be because I work out here in the shop a lot doing artwork stuff and
Yeah,
I play Mumford Sons, their live album, like at Red
man,
Rocks over and over and over.
the fact that we got to open for the Head and the Heart last year was pretty amazing because, like, when my wife and we've been married 11 years, and when we were dating and engaged, we would just, we'd had CDs back then. We just plug in that first CD in the car, and
Big
every
full
time we
circle,
go, yeah. And so it's
big full
like
circle moment.
it was so nostalgic for us to be like, oh wait, like these are the guys that we listened to forever, and now we're on their stage. This is weird.
Listen, and those moments are like it's like before and after. It's like
Yeah.
your life before and your life after. I got to take my son last year. So Rami Jaffe, who plays keys with the Foo Fighters,
Mm,
played in Wallflowers. Like he played on
yeah.
Bring It Down the Horse, like one of the best albums ever. Well, he played on some stuff that I'd done. It's super nice guy, nicer to me than I ever deserved. Uh, but I got to take my 16-year-old son at the time to go watch them and be backstage and all that kind of stuff. And Dave walks in while we're hanging out with Rami, and it's like
Uh,
I'll be 45, so Color and the Shape. Well, I was almost too young for Nirvana, but Foo Fighters were like my
yeah.
band, and it was like from that moment, I was sitting there on stage with my feet out in front of me, 20 feet away, going, "Oh my God, like this is my life." Like my music thing has brought me all the way around in this big huge circle, and those moments don't happen very often. So that's so cool that your wife and uh that you got to especially y'all playing together made it even more special.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
that was pretty surreal for us because we're like, I've listened to you guys for over a decade.
and maybe they hear that all the time, but for you all, I mean, what a cool moment. So what's somebody you listen to that people would be surprised? Like gangster, like you like Biggie Smalls or like Tupac or something.
Oh, man, I know I love some old Tupac. Yeah, it's funny. I've been at work lately. I find myself I've been listening to Zach Top a lot lately.
uh, Dude, he is crushing it. That's one of those people that like I tried to get him at the barn and it was like
Yeah,
I didn't get there fast enough.
that style is hit or miss for me, and he's on it.
But he's such a good player too. So like, and it's genuine because you can go back and look at like 2017 videos of him singing Keith Whitley. So it's
But I
like,
also like it's weird. Like I love Bon Iver, completely different music. Like I love all sorts of stuff. His first record I listened to a million times.
yeah, and I think that's you know you don't want to write the same song over and over and over again.
And
So you have to stretch your legs a little bit, and there's stuff you can pull from all that stuff. But my 16-year-old daughter and I, before basketball games, it's like Jay-Z, 99 Problems, and Biggie. I have to get old school OG on her to
yeah,
get the. Um,
that's mm.
what you've been to Nashville? What do you think about that whole machine?
I, I don't I don't really care for it, man. And there's a lot of people that we've met in the past couple years that have opinions on how I should be doing things and how I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, hey, this is what works for me and my family. And um, but I've also met some of the best people I know.
Well,
Um,
it's a I mean, I've never seen more talent. Like there has to be like if you were looking at a heat map, like the reddest of red spots is on Nashville because everybody there is a killer.
yeah,
Um, but yeah,
it's hard. It's like it's even a weird place to go to. We've done some shows there, and the shows are blast. I love it. But yeah, the machine is just like the little bit of a that we've gotten into it. It's not very appealing, and it just seems like the ideas that people have for us were not in our best interest, but in someone else's. And so I'm like, you know,
It sounds like
I
you've got the right approach.
that's why I still work. I'm not gonna cash in all my chips and hit the road to scrape by because I got 5 mouths to feed.
Look, so
Like I'm at a point where just being honest, like if I were to quit my job, I wouldn't make it on music, and I hope that changes one day. But it's not going to be because I'm never home.
right.
That's
Listen,
that's what I'm at.
I know from experience, like when you go all in, right? It can become very desperate, and then when people say, "Hey, why don't you use this? Let's 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 turn the car, turn the distributor cap a little bit this way," you know, and you start to you find after 2 or 3 years, you instead of being over here, you've moved all the way to this side. Like you've totally changed. It was so incremental you didn't notice, but it was like 5,000 little choices that you made going, well, I guess they know what they're talking about, or I guess
Uh,
and you're a different person at the end of it.
and it's funny too, like if I know who's going to be calling, like if we have a song randomly blow up, which I don't expect, but if it did, I know who's calling me. He's gonna be, how you been, bud? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I know it's just the way that this thing works is I know I get to do what I want to do and when I want to do, and I can say yes to what I want to and no to what I want to, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with waking up and going to work every day and getting to do music um when I can.
On your
And
turn.
I want to do more of it. I want to be a dad and a husband more than I want to be a known artist. So if I can make it all work, then awesome. And that, I don't that's not going to happen overnight for me. So I'm okay with where we're at.
Listen, the older I get, the more I just hope that I'm still playing music when I'm 65.
Oh yeah.
I remember meeting John Prine at a festival a few years ago, and it was like he had multiple lives, in music where he was probably struggling for 20 years, and then he would pop back up, and then he would kind of go away for a while. And then before he died, he's a whole new generation of people got to be introduced to him because he just kept plugging along and doing the thing and never compromising and
Yeah. And I got to see him in Atlanta. Um, very fortunately before he passed, and that was one of the coolest shows I've ever seen in my life. That
he's
was
he was a national treasure, that's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
uh, it's one of those things where again a guy with Kentucky roots and I've been lucky that those people have come through this state a lot and kind of like you said, they feel at home here and they keep coming back. It's a good thing. Um I I don't want to keep you too long. I don't want your battery to run down in your car either. But man, I really dig what you're doing. I I think it's exactly the kind of artist that people should be listening to. Um, again, I hope you go 100% viral and completely blow up and and get to take your kids around on a big bus. But if you don't, I hope you keep making the music that you're making now and I'm excited for all of my friends and family and local people here to get to hear that. I think there's where I live, there's really no in between. There's um we live relatively close to Louisville, relatively close, like not super far away from Nashville, a couple hours, but nobody here like if they go out to listen to music, it's a Journey cover band. It's the local, shit house band. And I was one of those bands too, but I really want them to hear some of these other things. Like you're not gonna unless you go down some type of TikTok rabbit hole, they probably not going to hear you. And I'm the reason I'm saying that is not a lot of kids. It's a lot of middle aged folks like me who just want to come listen to really good music, heartfelt stuff, and I think they're going to love you guys so much, and I can't wait. Hopefully, you come on Friday and spend the night and we get to visit. And my dad will probably tell you a bunch of good stories, and we'll probably have some ice cold beer ready for you, and food truck and all that good stuff. So
We're
uh,
excited, man. It's gonna be fun. We love getting to play in front of new people, and we love getting to share some stories and getting into the songs and why we wrote them.
they'll love
It's
it.
I don't know. There's nothing like doing a show. Nothing like it.
I mean, it's a disease, buddy, and it's not even about like I don't know. You tell me. Like it's not about being seen. It's the sharing. And I played shows where I did not connect, and it was not. I was
Yeah.
just like, man. But when it happens, you're like, man,
Well,
that
for us, like, if anyone listens to our music, they realize pretty quick we write some kind of heavier stuff. Um, and so people very often at our shows feel compelled to come tell us about their stuff. And then it's like, oh, now we're having this conversation and realizing like we're not alone.
yeah,
And it's like this is
healing.
really cool. I love that. I love when someone can connect because I don't know, music's been therapy for me. So these songs are just kind of what naturally come out. And um, we're gonna be real. I've never co-written until like recently. So I'm about to like I have a song coming out down the road. It's like my first time that I've ever written with someone.
Weird to sing other people's words, isn't it?
Well, we wrote it together, but it's like wow, these are a lot of the stuff that I write, just what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Well, buddy, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Hopefully, this will kind of let some folks know what they're in for. Um, I just again thank you for responding to me because I did what you did to Sadler. I just messaged you on Instagram, said, "Hey, would you come up to Kentucky and play?" Thank you for saying yes, and I can't wait for all the folks here to get to hear you guys.
Of course, man. We're excited and thanks for making this happen.
Hey, it's the least I could do. Everybody deserves to hear you guys. So, October 19th, Ramble at the Randall. They'll be here with Nick Jamerson. Hopefully, we'll have some Country Boy beer here. We'll have a food truck and bring all your merch with you. I'm gonna tell all these people they have to buy your record and your t-shirts and all that stuff. But it's gonna be a good time.